What was that, JPV? What is happening, Quility Nation? Just sitting here hanging out on a beautiful fall day in Asheville, North Carolina. Fired up for some exciting national call. And before we get to that, always an honor and a privilege to be joined by the one, the only JPV, better known as John Paul Vetter, but always known as JPV in my world. But and so much great goodness to be poured into you guys. We do not want to hesitate. We do not want to delay in getting into the content. He's got some very special guests that we want to share with too. But B-Dubs, anything from you over there, my friend, before we jump right in?
Not a thing. Just let's make way for Mr. Vetter and team. This is a man who creates a lot of momentum, brings great challenge to folks, and is a leader worth following. So we're grateful for you, JPV and team. You got your whole posse with you today. We're excited.
No doubt. Absolutely.
Mr. JP.
No, I appreciate it. First and foremost, just honored and blessed and grateful for the opportunity to be able to come on the call and share some best practices and such that work well for us, and hopefully other folks will be able to have some great takeaways from that. And we have 3 rock stars from my team that are joining me today, and I'll give some brief introductions and we'll get into the meat of our topic today. But first of all, my name is John Paul Vetter. I'm direct to Chris Menifee, to Scott Mank, to Jacob Pogue, to then Marshall Wayland, and blessed to be so, and just blessed to be a part of what an incredible opportunity this is at Symmetry as a whole. So again, thank you for the invite. We will dig right in. So we're on a builder's call, and so we want to talk about building, right? And so the topic of our conversation today really is keys to a positive team culture and growth. And I've got 3 ladies on this call with me today that are absolute rock stars. And we'll go through a couple of series of different perspectives and things as it relates to kind of what we do on my team. It works well for us. But first and foremost, I've got Miss Lori Allen. She is my operations manager. She is an expert as it relates to systems and processes and project management. I've said this on many calls in my past life. In the corporate world, I had entire teams of project managers and data analysts and folks to manage various aspects cross-functionally to accomplish the key initiatives and goals that I was tasked with, and key objectives. And honestly, I would put Miss Lori Allen up against any of them any day of the week. She is absolutely phenomenal. And I love you, girl. Appreciate you being a part of this journey. You're so much a part of what we do, and definitely want to give you the opportunity to kind of share and talk a little bit today kind of about what we do from your perspective as well. Also, we've got Miss Joanna Doyben. She is a key leader. She is the top recruiter in our agency. She is currently in her 2nd month run for agency owner in my organization, and just an absolute beast in the recruiting side of the business, and just blessed for you to be on this journey with us. And then Miss Jenny Gray, she is a key leader as well, top producer, and she is also in her 2nd month run for agency owner in our organization, and second in recruiting as far as growth for the organization as well. So it's no wonder why these ladies are neck and neck in their runs for agency owners. But just blessed to have them on the call with us today. And think you're going to have some great notes and takeaways. So make sure you get your pens and papers ready, and write down things that may be relevant for you and things that you can take away to help you on your journey. So first and foremost, I want to talk about really culture and what we're doing in our organization as it relates to our growth. And far too many times, I think people come into this kind of an opportunity and try to recruit for the sake of having packets back, and they want to come in and just have as many people in the organization as they can. And we don't necessarily approach it that way. We're looking for high propensity candidates and folks that we know that can that have a greater likelihood for success, so we can focus on those individuals. And but even with the people we have come in, you have a sense of collective leadership, from an organizational perspective. But everyone on my team, we have such a huge sense of inclusion and value and connectivity for everybody in our organization. It really is a tremendous culture within a culture of what we do here at Symmetry. And I think that's key to our success. And it's very, very important because you empower individuals to take control of their future and their destiny while they're trying to build their own forever. Because people are part of something that if they're in a position where they don't necessarily know all the right answers as it relates to recruiting or what to do from a building perspective, they don't have to wait a prolonged period of time until they can know all the answers and know everything before they do anything. Right. So we'll talk a little bit about that today specifically. But one thing I want to talk to is to leaders and builders on the team specifically as it relates to just your focus. A lot of times, people want to recruit or onboard 100 folks because they know only 2 or 3 of them are likely to make it. I promise you there's not a bottle of Advil big enough for that. I'm not doing it. I'm focusing on 2 or 3 people at a time as necessary that are high propensity candidates. Because the more time you spend chasing people around and playing whack-a-mole and herding cats of individuals who really don't have any business being here, that it's a negative impact to your culture and takes away from your momentum and growth because you're busy trying to manage drama and sophomoric attitudes, and you're trying to motivate individuals instead of dealing with people that are motivated, right? So we certainly want as many high caliber candidates as possible, but you also want to make sure you're having folks that can contribute to the collective culture and the momentum of your organization. At least that's how we approach it. And so the one thing I want you to understand is that leaders are responsible for creating an environment, and where people can be their best and grow. But be selective in your candidates, focus on quality versus quantity. And the other thing is that you want to be able to create a team so strong that somebody from the outside looking in doesn't know who the leader is. When you accomplish and reach that level of development within your organization, everyone is rowing in the same direction and you cannot stop the momentum because everybody's aligned in their goals and objectives and everyone feels a sense of inclusion and value. And one thing I learned a long time ago that's just so important for people to understand is that true leaders don't create followers. True leaders create other leaders. And some folks have a tendency to want to be people's boss and to have them follow them instead of you being at the tip of the spear, leading the charge for folks to want to follow you. But that means you as a leader have to do the things that you expect other folks to do. You can't expect people to go out and make calls and dials and to find high caliber candidates if you're not doing the same thing, because they're going to follow your lead, not what you say. They're going to follow what you do. And so it's so important that you be a leader in that regard, where you are at the front in the trenches with the team. You'll gain so much respect from your team specifically, but it adds to the culture as well, and you create an environment of other leaders who are doing the like-minded things, and they in turn go find like-minded individuals, right? So there's something you have to keep in mind, and I heard somebody say it a long time ago, and it was repeated recently, but it's just so important, about focusing on getting the right people in your organization. And it's hard. Let me pause and pump the brakes. It is not easy. You're going to have more people that you run across that are not good fits for this than are. Stop trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It does not work. These people, if they're not meant to be here, it's okay. It doesn't mean they're not a good person, not a good Christian, not a good engineer, or not a good mechanic, or whatever it is they do. They can be the best in the world at. But this opportunity requires a special kind of skill set, or at least people that are coachable. And some folks aren't. They're not as committed to their own dreams and objectives as you are. And it doesn't work that way. A tiger can't change his stripes, right? So you want to make sure you're focused on the right kind of individuals. And it takes time. You're not going to get overnight success. And people have a tendency to expect instant gratification here. The team I have right now collectively is absolutely stellar. But if I told you the number of people that I went through to find the right people, and the people that flaked out or said all the right things in the interview process and then ghosted and vanished and they're no longer here, listen, it'd blow your mind. But I'll do it 3 times over, and I'll start from scratch again, because this opportunity is so incredible. You have to be focused on doing whatever it takes to make this a reality for you and your family. But be patient and be diligent and intentional with the things that you do every single day. And as it relates to your recruiting, focus on getting the right kind of people. The last thing that I want to say in relation to that is, when you raise the bar, you lose losers. When you lower the bar, you lose winners. And you got to remember that, where you have to realize this opportunity and what we have here, it ain't meant for everybody, and it's okay. But when you find the right kind of people, there's not a damn thing you're going to be able to do to stop them. And those are the people you're looking for. So I'll pause there because I want to get into introducing these ladies and kind of talking about some of the things that we do on our team and how it helps us. So first on deck, we've got Miss Lori Allen. She is my operations manager. And as stated before, she is an absolute rock star as it relates to systems, processes, and project management. She is the glue that keeps us together and the oil and the fuel to our machine and the gears that make this thing work. So I want to just kind of tee it up for Miss Lori Allen. Lori, can you kind of talk to us a little bit just about the blueprint and roadmap that we've implemented for new agents, mentors, and leaders within our organization that you were so instrumental in creating for us?
Sure. Thank you so much, John Paul. First of all, I do have to say I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be on this call, on this team, and in this company. It's changed the trajectory of my own life and my family. So I just want to be able to say that while I have the audience to do so. So super grateful for that. And I'd say before I kind of talk about the systems, there's a foundation that's laid that makes the system work. And without it, you can add any system and it won't work. And that is the leadership on this team, starting with John Paul. And his favorite guy, Danny Young, he quotes him often, and he's taken his advice to heart that you have to be a battery big enough for everybody to plug into. And he's done that successfully. That's part of what makes this work on the team. Well, the other thing that's happening is that he teaches everyone else to be a battery as well. So we're each growing and pushing us way out of our comfort zones all the time, telling us that we can do certain things when we don't think we can. And then we become batteries as well. So that is, and then one of the pieces too is that we talked to the folks in Denver, the team in Denver, and I told them, if you stay around here long enough, it'll kind of sneak up on you and you'll start believing in yourself. So that's part of what this culture is about. And then you sit shoulder to shoulder with people like Jenny and Joanna, and the inspiration just goes back and forth through the team and the battery and so that is the foundation, and without it, the systems don't work. So I just want to lay that out there. But beyond that, the reason we built these systems is when somebody's transitioning from, often, not all the time, but often from W-2 to 1099, it's a brave thing to do. And it's a hard thing to do. And so if someone's going to make that leap and be brave, we want them to land in a place where they're supported. So we've built systems that will take someone, new agents and new mentors, and kind of give them a foundation where they don't have to figure everything out while they're trying to write business, because there's so much happening all at once. We need to kind of help them throughout the process. So what we've done, there's three main things that we do. We have 6 weeks worth of email communication that goes out to every new agent that helps them get through the seasoned new agent process. But we added one more element, and there's a copied email that goes out to each mentor that says, this is exactly what your new agent received. And the reason that is helpful, because if there's somebody that's a brand new mentor, they don't know what to do. They really don't. They're trying to figure everything out. So now they've got communication to not only tell them, hey, you need to talk to your agent about this, but they know they've already got that piece of communication. So it's training 2 people at once. And I really feel like that is a key piece of the progress. And so then the second thing we do is prepare to launch, which is huge. We're all pretty certain that prepare to launch, which is live training throughout the week. All the leaders go in and train the new agents, and the heavy lifting of training all the new agents is shared by the entire team. So we're pretty sure that when we got to Denver, we all knew each other already. It was like a family reunion because of the live training. And that was an important piece that keeps everybody motivated and energized. And then the last piece is helping the recruiters, people that are recruiting, trying to write and recruit at the same time. We keep their calendar as clean as possible. And we do that with automations based on max day. So thank you so much for that automation series and the email and the text. We have an automation set up on our team where we manually drop in who we want to talk to. And it's super important that if you're in the Vetter agency, you were vetted anyway, before you got here, that you were a high propensity candidate to even come in and you were invited. So there's not very many appointments on our calendars really, but they're people that we're really interested to talk to. So I think that's probably the three main things that we've got. What do you?
Awesome, Lori. No, I appreciate that. So yeah, so the whole point is by having not necessarily an entire week full of interviews on our calendar, that 90% of them are going to no-show you and take up your time, where one, you can't focus on personal production, or two, you're not able to focus on mentoring the people that you do need to mentor, people that do need your time, because you can lose good people because you're distracted chasing people that done forgot about you. Okay. So the whole point is we want as many interviews on our calendar as possible, but that they are high propensity candidates. You're still going to have some of them no show and flake out, no doubt. That's part of the numbers game, but you're able to focus on the majority of those being higher propensity candidates, or at least the highest possible, all things considered, right? So the other thing to Lori's point is just from the prepare to launch perspective and collective leadership, everyone takes a turn in their rotation on the calendar of when they're hosting different subject matter courses, whether it's how to navigate opt or lead strategy or things like that. I even cover a role play class along with several of the other veteran producers on the team, where we do live role play at a specific time and date during the week. It's promoted on our crew app and those things with graphics, so people know the calendar, they sign up and they're able to attend. And that way we can do live training where they can ask us in a group setting exactly what they heard from Ms. Johnson yesterday that was a challenge for them, and I'll role play them, or Jenny or Joanna will role play live on the call with an audience to hear kind of how we would handle that. So that's very productive and helps folks kind of get through that learning curve real time. But it also distributes the collective training, so one person isn't always training their own people. So everyone shares in that responsibility, but moreover, the recruit gets a chance to hear a bunch of different voices, different people, and their different perspectives on how to handle different situations. The way I would dial and set an appointment may not be exactly the way that Jenny or Joanna does it, or somebody else in the team, but it's no less effective. It just depends on a different style and different voice. So we found a great deal of success there as well. So thank you, Lori, for that, and I appreciate that. Awesome. Next up, we've got Miss Joanna Doiven. Again, she is a key leader on our team in her second month run for agency owner. She is the top recruiter on our team and just slaying it. Joanna, talk to us a little bit about the mindset of quality versus quantity, and kind of setting the proper expectations for both new agents and mentors in the way we do things on the team.
Thanks, John Paul. Yep, I'm Joanna Doiven, direct to Lionel Anderson in the John Paul Vetter, Chris Menefee, Scott Bank, and Marshall Whalen hierarchy. And very, very blessed to be so. And, what Lori was talking about, the systems in place and the processes in place, they're just as important as who we funnel into and plug into the systems. And so when I started this journey a little over a year ago, I quickly realized that this recruiting part of the business is going to be less of a funnel and more of a filter in terms of who we decide to onboard and work with. Because at the end of the day, who you onboard is someone you're going to want to lock arms with and be business partners with for the long haul. And so being very selective about who these people are is really important to having a positive team culture and growth. And so what's funny is we want to attract this rock star candidate, but you don't attract what you want. You really attract who you are. And that's why it's really a non-negotiable to have the relentless pursuit of personal growth. And what I want to spend the next few minutes with you guys talking about is the talking points that I have on my first conversation, called a phone interview with these candidates, to really let them know who we are and what we're about and what our expectations will be of them in this journey. And so you've got your job posts up either on ZipRecruiter, Career Builder, LinkedIn, Craigslist perhaps, or maybe you're just in your warm market inviting people to check out your landing page and this opportunity and a couple of videos. And after they've watched the videos, they've booked themselves for a time to have a chat. And this is really a chance for you to set the stage that we do hiring very differently, specifically in our agency, where a lot of employers are, will look at resumes and what you've done to determine if you might be a good fit here. But I tell my candidates, we do things differently here. We're more concerned about who you are and what your values are, and if you align with our values, than what you've done in the past, because we know if you share our values, that we can train you with our multi-million-dollar training platform of Summit and Basecamp and the mentorship and the culture. We can show you how to be successful here, but we can't teach you how to have the values. And so I talk right off the bat with that relationships matter and people come first, and that we do the right thing even when no one's looking. And I give the candidate a chance to respond to that and give me examples of how that's important to them in their personal and professional lives. And that also makes us stand out from other employers that are doing, this type of hiring process. And the second thing I talk about with them is that after they've shared what they like about the videos, oftentimes people say, well, it just seems really, easy. And I'm like, well, thank you for sharing that. Let's clarify. Our system is very short and very simple, but not to be confused with easy. This is really hard work. Is that okay that I say that? And they respond very positively, because that allows me to be transparent. And also it builds trust for them to know that we're not really, trying to convince them to join the team. We're actually letting them know that this is going to be a hard journey, but we're going to support you along the way. We're going to train you fully and completely. We're going to mentor you and give you a safe place to land and expand. And so when you have these conversations, be bold about who we are and what we're about. Hold our values to a high standard so they understand that that's what's important to us. And finally, let them know this is not going to be easy. And when they have a hard day, they're going to remember what you told them, and they're going to have that trust to lean on you and call you and reach up and reach out, so that you've got somebody that's not only a high caliber candidate, but someone that's going to be sticky and someone that's going to have the trust and rapport with you to make this a long and successful process. And so there's so much more I'd love to share. I love this part of the business. I love inviting people to come join us, specifically this team, this company. And so back to you, John Paul.
Awesome. Great stuff, Joanna. Thank you so much. And one caveat there, again, in the selection process is the way we ask questions during the interview. I think a lot of times too many people get into trying to sell the candidate of why they should come to Symmetry, instead of you having the posture of understanding you have the keys to the Willy Wonka golden ticket, and putting them in a position where they have to sell you as to why you would want to have them as be a part of your team. And I tell them in the last question of my interview process, if I've got one spot left on my squad, one person left I can mentor right now, what makes you a good fit for my team? And let them tell you and sell you as to why they should be a part of your organization, because they should have already watched the videos. They should have already, known all about the opportunity. They should know what this entails. And that's when you get to the emotion of their why and understanding just how passionate they are about this opportunity. That's going to tell you a whole lot about those individuals, because the three things you can't teach anybody is attitude, work ethic, and drive. We're going to transition to Miss Jenny Gray, key leader. She is a top producer for Symmetry. She is neck and neck with Jenny on the Joanna in the recruiting side of the business. also in her second month run for agency owner. Jenny, talk to us a little bit of things we talked about today, just about the impact and benefit on our culture and our momentum within the organization, ma'am, from your perspective.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know we're running short on time, so I'm not going to do the whole hierarchy thing and all that stuff, but everybody knows who I'm direct to, right? So anyway, I just want to expand on what Lori was talking about, some of these systems and processes that we put in place, especially with regard to the prepare to launch system that we have. And I will just say that I think that in and of itself has made the largest impact on our team culture as the Better Agency. And you tell me, John Paul, but I dare to say that when we launched Prepare to Launch, that our agency exploded. And there's a reason for that. The reason is because of that daily live interaction that is available to everyone on our team. We are building a community. We're building a family here where we're interacting every day. I tell you, and this is a difficult thing. Look, we're all virtual. So for me, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but for me, I'm working out of my house by myself all day. Sometimes I'll go 2 days without even leaving my house. I mean, it's crazy. And the idea that I can look at my schedule every day and see, oh, this class is in the morning, this class is in the afternoon. And I can actually join in virtually on a Zoom room where we're all live and we can all interact and build these relationships and these friendships. It's been huge. And just like Lori said, when we went to Denver, a lot of people that I've never, really ever met, all of a sudden we go to Denver and it's like we all know each other. It's like a family reunion. So it's amazing. It's been really, really impactful for the team and personally impactful for me. But I'll say too that I think it's pretty darn cool for our recruits, the new people that we bring in, because they're stepping into this opportunity, and from day one, they feel like they're part of something. They feel like they're part of a community. And, it's cool because, of course, we've got the Quality system and the Symmetry system and the training, the summit, and just the wonderful training that we have. But we also have this layer of training that we've created with Prepare to Launch that supports our new people on a daily basis. And so we're not replacing anything that Quality is doing, obviously, but we're just enhancing it. And I think it just adds so much to the journey of the new recruit to help them, with their learning curve, to help them get to that SNA status even faster, which is what our goal is here. And so I think just creating that environment and so that our new people don't feel like they're on an island, but then also giving the people, the veterans here and the people that have been here for a while, an opportunity to be able to have community as well. And so I'll just speak a little bit to the trainings that we have, because I just think that we have so many great trainings on a daily basis. And John Paul mentioned some of them, but something very basic as a tour of the Quality site. How cool is that? I mean, our Quality HQ site is so robust. We've got so much in there. It's hard to navigate that, especially as a new person. And so we have a training that is just set aside to take people through the Quality site and show them all of the resources that we have available to us at our fingertips. And I love we always talk about the Danny Young saying that, if you're not successful here, it's like starving in a grocery store. Well, yeah, especially with our Prepare to Launch. I mean, we are in a grocery store of resources. So I just think that's amazing. So yeah, we have the tour of the Quality site. We've got navigating Opt, which, Opt can be kind of tricky sometimes. And there are lots of little neat things that you can do in Opt that a lot of people don't know about, like sorting information and stuff like that. So that's a very important one. Lead strategy, understanding, what the different types of leads and how to approach those different leads, also extremely important. Risk assessments, appointment setting and presentation. That's the training that I typically cover. But then we also have some networking things that we do. We have a ladies' coffee day. And so, just gives us an opportunity to network on a deeper level. And then, of course, our book club, which Joanna had mentioned too, is just our personal development. So important. Cannot do this without having a good mindset and waking up every day ready to kill it and crush it. And so, and of course, my favorite is Fight Club. This is a concept that was started by our teammate, Sean Cochran. And of course, everybody knows what a dial room is, right? Everybody does dial rooms and all this stuff, but this is a little bit different. Fight Club is a dial room that we have every single day, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon. But the whole concept behind the Fight Club is we're fighting through the fear of dialing. Most everyone that starts this journey, that's the first obstacle that they have to hit, the fear of dialing. And so we set up an environment where you can actually get into the dial room and face your fear with other people that are experiencing the same fears. And so the Fight Club is we're fighting through those fears. And me personally, I've kind of fought through those fears a while back, but I just like the Fight Club. I know I have to dial every day anyway. And so I put that on my schedule. I go in there and I just consider it, a part of my day. I get on, I see a bunch of smiling faces in the dial room, and sometimes we'll start up conversations. We'll laugh about somebody that hung up on us or whatever. And it just makes it a lighter environment. But super important that we're supporting our new people through those growth, learning curves and stuff like that. But just to wrap up, I'll just say that the two things that our Prepare to Launch has created for us as a team is, number one, we're building producers. We're building good producers. But number two, we're building leaders, because we're giving opportunities of leadership to people that are coming up through the ranks to be able to teach a class, to be able to open up a dial room, giving them responsibility and helping them to grow as leaders. So yeah, it's a two-pronged thing that we're doing. We're growing producers and we're growing leaders. And I'll just end it at that.
Awesome. Great stuff, Jenny. I appreciate you so much. In closing here, we're just a couple minutes over, but the last thing that I want to say is specifically to the leaders in the organization is that you have to be actively engaged and involved and guarded in the creation, molding, and propagation of the particular team culture that you're trying to create. And one of the things as it relates to Prepare to Launch, one of the things that I do personally is every week on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, I have a meet and greet where every new agent that comes in this organization comes on there. So I have a chance to meet them personally, get to know them. And a lot of times I'm doing the second or final interview myself. So I have a relationship with people that are 4, 5, and 6 layers deep in my organization. Some people have a tendency that once they get that first level, they let the people 2, 3, 4 levels deep do their own interviews, and they don't even know some of the people and have relationships with them. And I think that's a downfall. Because you want to be able to know the people in your organization intimately, both wide and deep, so you have that collective relationship across the board with everybody in your organization. It makes for a stronger family vibe and feel, and it's more genuine because you do have a true connectivity to people throughout your organization. So that's really the extent of what we got today. Hopefully folks got some great nuggets out of kind of what we were able to share today, and appreciate the time. So grateful again for Miss Lori Allen, Jenny Gray, and Joanna Doyven to join us on the Builder Call today, and certainly appreciate the opportunity and the invite, and we'll turn it back over to the national call. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that so much, guys. Appreciate the feedback. Appreciate the way that you pour in. We've got a lot of questions in the chat. JPV, if you take a look at some of those that you can answer for us on the content. Jenny and Joanna, such a great job. Laurie, so nice to finally meet you on a actual camera and not just via text or email. So appreciate what you're doing in an agency that continues to grow at an explosive rate. So grateful for that. And B-Dubs and I, for those questions out there about the actual some of the content and programs, just know that we're going to be in touch with JPV. It's going to be integrated into Summit. We're looking at all angles right now, doing a revisit, right, B-Dub? We had quite a few stellar individuals in town just last week to talk about this in a deep dive.
We did. We had a great day and a half with Resma, all of y'all, Ditson, Spivey, Mr. Pritchett, and switchboard team. It was incredible. And yeah, we're really excited. You've already got it in your inbox, JPV. We're going to talk to you about, hey, let's collaborate and integrate the best practices from the bottom up as we push the best data from the top down across the whole. So this is really exciting, and super pumped that you made this deposit today.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
JPV,
And
thank you guys.
we got a lot of stuff to cover, don't
Yes,
we?
we do.
And we got some really cool. Yes, the first thing I think we should do before we kind of get knee deep into it is have kind of a pretty big celebration, because we not just broke records in every category. You guys shattered records. I think we beat our all-time high on the Symmetry side by $200,000, just about.
In a week.
Almost $200,000 in a week. So you've been listening to us. I think conference came at a perfect time, but you guys have been listening to us on digital leads, on switchboard, on just activity overall. So couldn't be more excited with that news to kick this sucker off. So congratulations, everybody. I talked to so many managers throughout the week, usually via text, and so many of them are saying the same thing. Casey, record week. And I was talking to Ben Seaport the other night, and Sarah, he said, yep, we had a record week, which means that you guys are probably going to have a record week. So as it turns out, he was correct. So let's go ahead and jump into the PowerPoint, since we got so much stuff to cover before we get into our call today, which is, as you can see, our special guests. Good looking crew. Ben Edson, agency owner Ashton. Oh, excuse me, agency director Ryan Federico. Then you got Ben Edson, who is definitely stolen Luke Wilson's picture. I'm pretty sure. I think you get that all the time. Ashton DeLongalunde and